Welcome back to the ESL CSGO Pro League, where we just witnessed the first upset of the season. NIP being taken down by Heroic 2-0, but now we're going to move across to FaZe versus Kinguin. My name's Dan Gaskin, joined on the desk by Jackie Peters. An incredible first match. I don't really know if we're going to be able to top that one, but we have got FaZe versus Kinguin. I mean, two pretty fantastic sides. FaZe, obviously, they finished top 8 last season. They did pretty well in the last major as well. And then we've got Kinguin on the other side. They did win the Premier of ESEA, so they got promoted into the Pro League. I mean, talk me through these two squads and what you think about them.
Obviously, it's really exciting because, as you were saying, FaZe, they looked dominant in the previous major. They definitely had an exciting performance, to say the least. You know, really, sort of, since Karrigan's comes into the mix and provided a lot more structure to what is essentially some of the more individually talented players there are in the world, they've really started to shine. They've finally got a little bit of structure behind them, and they've proven that they can really play some high-quality CS with that, you know, playbook behind them now, and it's been exciting to see. And then as well, on the other side, when you're talking about Kinguin, which are one of the other teams that are sort of, you know, they're the second best Polish team. They're the second best Polish team that there is. But you've also got someone that is very exciting, you know, basically the best Polish player outside of Virtus Pro, which is going to be Miku. He is, you know, the only player that Virtus Pro have said that if they ever need to make a lineup change, he would be the only player they would pick up, the only player they'd feel comfortable playing with. And we've seen him always coming in as that sub whenever they need to go to an event where either Snacks or someone cannot attend. And he always fills those boots and plays fantastically. And, you know, he's an amazing player. When you look at that lineup as well, you have a lot of talent. Sparrow is someone that you're going to see donning the AWP to a very high standard. And this is a good team. They've been together for a very long time. You know, they haven't made that many lineup changes, essentially, and they've always sort of played together. They've got a big amount of structure in their playbook. They know what they're doing. They're quite drilled, and they do have talented players. It's
interesting that you say they're the second best team in Poland, because actually the last time they faced up against VP, it was WESG. They beat VP 2-0.
Yeah.
So they did make a little bit of a statement there, but obviously VP went on to finish second in the last major, so they did respond well. So there is potential from this Kinguin side. I'm really excited to see what they are capable of. As you can see on your screen, the first map is going to be Overpass. That was the decision made by both of these teams. We will then move on to Dust 2 later on. Dust 2 having its last week in the Pro League, as it will swap out for the brand spanking new Inferno next week. But we are going to go into Overpass then, and we've gone into a little bit about these two teams. I mean, initial thoughts on any kind of favourites onto Overpass?
I mean, I'm excited to see how it goes, because obviously FaZe should perform quite well on a map like Overpass. They have that structure, especially with Karrigan there as well. He has a lot he can bring to the table for them, so definitely excited to see. I know in the past that as well that Kinguin have been able to play Overpass to a very high standard. They know what they're doing on it. It is a map that they, you know, they wouldn't shy away from. They feel comfortable on it and have had some good results. They've posted good results in the past, and but more so for me, I feel like this is just it's a battle of team sort of structure versus more team structure that is a little bit more volatile. FaZe is a lot more volatile in terms of how they want to play it out.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I want to point out is the last time that we did see FaZe on Overpass, they actually lost to SK at the last major. I mean, I know SK are a fantastic side and all, but that's something that perhaps they've been working on, similarly to last game where we said the previous match between NIP and Heroic had ended up in a victory for NIP, and then Heroic had gone off the back of that and they'd worked on it over 3 months, and they came back and they stormed through onto Nuke. So maybe this is going to be something from FaZe. Perhaps they considered it a weak point in that last major, and now they're going to show that they've been practicing it regularly since that last major. That was just a couple of weeks ago now. I'm really excited to see Kinguin, because the story that we've got to say is that they've just been promoted. Right, yeah. So they've finally found themselves in this Pro League. They've won the Premier ESA, they then went to the finals, and they won the finals as well. Now they've got their big shot. Now they need to make a statement. They need to do what Heroic just did to NIP. I think it is that similar David versus Goliath. I think there's definitely the possibility of Kinguin getting through this. But then we move into Dust 2, and I've got to say, I think it's going to come down to who's won Overpass and whose shot it is a lot better. But we will go into Overpass a little bit more. We'll dive into it. I want to know your thoughts, your initial thoughts, really, Is it, do you think, more of a CT-sided map, or do you think this is a T-sided map for Overpass?
You know, it's slightly favourable to that CT side, but it's one that is a little bit more balanced than the other maps, just in terms of structure. It's more of around sort of an 8-7 scoreline in terms of things. You know, it's not too set in stone. It really can be quite volatile depending on how you feel as a team and how structured you are and just where you perform better. Obviously, you do get some teams that prefer to just start off on that T side because they want to warm up with the AK more. They know they feel precise and can potentially land those shots a little bit easier. So it's a little bit more volatile.
I'll get this.
Yeah,
there we are.
It's slipped around.
Sorted out. Bro code. And who are the kind of MVPs, like, well, not MVPs just yet, but who are the players we're going to be looking out for between FaZe and Kinguin? You've talked a little bit about a lineup. I mean, Kiyoshima, I remember him being in the like ESL Premiership. He was over in the UK.
Yeah.
He likes to make a little appearance at the UK lands as well. Is he someone we should be looking out onto FaZe, or is someone else the kind of the standout player there?
Yeah, you will see players coming out from Kyo. Obviously, someone that has that rifling potential is definitely sort of a star player. Did fantastically well in the MVS lineup he was in for such a long time before he eventually departed, and then obviously was involved in quite a few UK events before returning to the pro scene and getting involved with FaZe. That was an interesting couple of months when that all went down. But then obviously as well, you know, you have an abundance of talent. This is the thing. You have some great skill in there. Alu and Orpa that proved how dominant he was when he got moved over from the squadron when he went into NIP for a very long time. You know, he was in there for a while, looked strong, was then obviously playing for ENT before eventually returning to sort of a higher tier team as he gets involved with FaZe. He still is a very secure Orpa, knows his position, can be fantastically flamboyant and provide us with great sort of highlight reel clips. He's one of those players that can do so, but knows his limits and won't be overconfident in that. But then as well, someone for me that I still think is one of the better talents there is AZ. You know, he's fantastic. He's one of these younger Danish players that is absolutely outrageous in terms of his individual skill, knows how he needs to play, knows how to better himself, and is improving constantly day in, day out. Every time you see him, he's superior than where he was before. Well,
we have had a little tweet in. Oh, just as I was going to read it, it disappears. Can we get it back? I saw the tweet come up, but I didn't want to interrupt Jack. He was making a fantastic point there. There we go. GK Esports says, Heroics T-side on Nuke destroyed NIP. 8 rounds in a row. GG, well played. Use the hashtag ESL Pro League if you want any of your tweets featured on stream. Get involved in the discussion. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you think is going to win out of FaZe and Kinguin. I think this is actually going to be a really interesting game. I mean, you spoke of Karrigan briefly. He was a huge impact onto FaZe's lineup. I really think he has been the difference maker for that lineup, and I'm definitely going to be watching, well, hopefully we'll be watching a lot of his point of view. Yeah, you observers, you get that one right. Matchday out the back, he's been doing a great job for observing, so thank you to him. But okay, let's say, whilst we're waiting for players to get on, let's say we move on to Dust 2 then. Where are the kind of highlights there? Are we looking at players like Karrigan to be the top performers because it is all about that individual aim?
I mean, coming into a map like Dust 2, it's really going to be more sort of focused on those players like Alu, like Yoshima, like AZ, you know, and Rain especially. Rain is one of the players that I didn't really have time to touch on previously when we were speaking about, but on a map like Dust 2, that's where those players that are so talented just in their own personal game, where they can be explosive, they can take the fight, they know they can win those 1v1 aim battles, you're going to see them popping off. But you're also going to see your Miku's coming into effect, you're going to see, you know, your Sparrows. It's that sort of style. And a map like Dust 2, it complements those kind of players that know their role, they know they can be proficient in terms of, you know, those sort of weapons, they know they can win those rifle battles, they know they can win those AWP battles, and if they're allowed to do so, that's where it's really going to come into effect and just prove how critical they can be on a map like Dust 2.
And earlier I was saying, oh, I wonder who won the knife round, and then I did kind of remember that obviously with the veto process that is in form for ESL Pro League, the veto comes down and then one team picks the map and the other team gets to pick the side in the veto process. So that's going to be a big thing to think about in the veto process as well. That makes it a little bit more interesting. I don't quite know who actually took Overpass in the end and how the bans worked, but clearly one of these teams is going to favour that map. I'd like to think it is FaZe after they had their kind of disappointing result on it back at the last major, and hopefully they have been working on it. I mean, what have you got to say about Kinguin in general? If they were able to come up from the Premier ESA, if they were able to win that league, is there just going to be so much momentum behind them? Are they going to be able to push through and perhaps upset FaZe, or is this just going to be easy pickings for FaZe, do you think?
No, definitely not. They're players on the same sort of caliber. You know, they have been involved in quite prestigious events. They've been involved in a couple of the majors beforehand. They have been there, you know, with different lineups and different team names, you know, obviously different sponsors every time, but they've been around. You know, they've been through the battlefield, they've definitely put up a fair fight, and they know what they're doing. They have the firepower behind them, they have that potential, and they've definitely been playing together long enough that they have enough structure in there, and this is the thing, coming into it, they're going to be hungry for it. They're going to want to finally prove that, yeah, as this 5, this is how how we want to perform. We want to be, you know, the superior team. We want to come in. We want to go up against a sort of challenge versus Pro for that #1 spot in terms of that top Polish team. That's sort of the mindset they're going to have going into it. And you do have that talent there. So I'm excited to see it. Obviously, Miku as well has kind of been my golden boy that I've mentioned, but I want to see it. I want to see them come in and really bring it.
And can you see either of these teams making finals? Is that a dream? I mean, FaZe obviously they managed to get top 8 at the last major, so they're more than capable. They got top 8 last season as well in Pro League. Can you see either of these getting to finals, and who do you see elsewhere being in those finals? What kind of teams are we looking at?
Oh, I think finals this way around is going to be very exciting as well. FaZe definitely are one of the ones I think could actually slip their way through to actually make it. Finals are going to be really exciting, but you have an abundance of talent. This is the thing. There's so many top-tier teams. Astralis as well, hot off that major win. You know, I'm excited to see what the result's going to be against them versus Na'Vi, as those are two fantastically top teams as well. With the recent changes in how they want to structure Na'Vi as well, with Simple being the dedicated AWPer, I believe, from now on. I think that was spoke about with him actually taking over, which is interesting as well, because obviously Guardian on that team, or he might have been taking over the role as secondary AWPer. It was something like that I saw. So I'm interested to see what actually goes on with that. It could be very interesting to see how that affects that playstyle and how they perform. And I just think it's going to be really exciting to see finals this year, because you just have so many really strong teams, and plus you have the reformation of teams like Fnatic that have come back now to a lineup that I'd say was better than when they were at their peak of their their career before with Pronax. So it's going to be really awesome.
Well, we are still waiting for this game to get underway, so we do apologise for the little bit of delay. But whilst you do wait there, how about you check out the top 4 plays from last season's online games?
For Skadoodle here. He has the angle with the AWP, the Molotov, forcing anyone away from swinging wide. Grabs a second kill, great, and a third one! Skadoodle, what a recovery and a hold! All 4 kills for Skadoodle.
Slow down, and here he is again. He's to hit the second. You better believe he will. Now a third. Twist is going to take the fight, and he hits it as well. Kenny is just raining down terror. 2 more to find, and they're cowering in drop room, fearing what he could do with his Zoom banger. Finds a little bit of a respite for a moment. This could be a full ace. Kenny is going absolutely nuts.
Plants getting guns away. You're gonna make the investment into this isn't around. Win Nico though.
Smoke will plume in front of them now, and Christian is able to peek through the windows. But there's Nico again. Gets himself the second kill. There could be something here for Mousefuls, and the third through the wall. Nicely done for the man now. The bomb's ticking away. There's no choice. Shefan has to stand and deliver, and Nico shuts him down.
He may have gotten away with it, but unfortunately for him, not to be. It's Dupree next in line. Does find Glaive still behind that E-box, but they're pushing too quickly for him to find a secondary angle. Good dink up from Xyp9x, and that might buy them time, because Kerrigan, he's going for the flank. There's an AK down. He's smart not to go for it immediately, because he picks up a second kill. Snappy finds one in return, but he's isolated. Can he find it? Down to the one-on-one, and Kerrigan's timing is everything.
Here come the bodies as well. Guardian just put 1 down. Can he find a second? You better believe he can. Not another. Surely! Guardian, stop it! Guardian shuts down 4, and the dream is real as he melts all 5.
Wow, you spoke about the AWPs on Na'Vi, and I think Guardian will be wanting to keep it if he's going to be doing things like that as he did last season. Okay, so we've talked about FaZe, we've talked about Kinguin, we've looked at both of the sides. I've got your idea of who I think you're going to go for, but if you had to go for some sort of prediction here onto Overpass and Dust 2, what do you think?
I'd like to give it to Kinguin, because I'd hope to see them coming into it, but I've just got to go with FaZe, as I don't feel like they're really going to be close it out. I think this is going to be a really close matchup though, especially on Overpass. I feel like this is where we're going to see quite a hard-fought fight. But FaZe for me will probably squeeze this out somewhere in the region of a 16-11. I feel like Kinguin do have potential here though, because they have that drive behind them and they have star player potential. But I just feel like FaZe, off the back of the previous major and just how well they've been playing, and obviously they're going to want to improve themselves and go even further now, they're really not going to want to allow their season 5 start of Pro League to go like that and actually lose against Kinguin.
I guess it comes down to how much research both the teams have done. There is no previous history from them facing each other, not online anyway, nothing that I can find statistically. So perhaps there is that surprise factor from Kinguin coming up from the Premier Division, and perhaps FaZe wouldn't have researched it. They might underestimate them slightly. I'm thinking maybe something like a 1-1. I like to go for the underdog story. Heroic beating Nip was absolutely crazy, and I love that we were able to pull off that result. But we're going into Overpass then. What kind of executes are we going to be expecting? Do we think we're going to be seeing a lot of fast B rushes, or do we think we're going to get those long A slow takes?
I don't know. I don't think we'll be seeing any slongs on stream.
Hopefully not.
I mean, I don't know, Dan. If that's what you're into, it's fine. But preferably not here. Not today.
Not on Overpass.
Not today.
No. But are we going to be seeing long A takes? Is the real question.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of aggression coming out. We'll see how FaZe play with JKM's actually playing instead of AZ today. So this could be really interesting to see. So something that we didn't actually touch on there, obviously going through the lineups. With JKM coming into effects instead of AZ, that's one of the players that I also, going into this expecting to see as that star player for me, someone that has a lot of potential behind him, could be definitely a deficit. JKM is definitely talented, though. Not someone that, you can sniff your nose up at. Will definitely bring...
I had him crossed out because I originally thought AZ was going to be playing. I'm going to just drop that back in and now cross out AZ instead.
Nice, mate.
But yes,
you've drawn a slong.
We will not stop bringing up slongs again. Right, we're going to go into Overpass, as I said, and we were talking about those long A takes. I think we're going to get a lot of fast pushes, I think, from Kinguin. I think they're going to be ready. You're still teasing me here. I'm expecting a lot of fast B pushes from Kinguin. They've really just got to push in. They've got to try and be explosive. Don't raise your eyebrows at me. Stop doing this to me. They've got to try and be explosive because it's the underdog story. They've got a lot to build from, and they can be unpredictable, and I think if they can surprise FaZe, they have every chance of getting into this, don't you think? Yeah,
definitely so. I mean, you're absolutely correct. And going back to your previous point, there will be a lot of aggression towards that B-bomb site. It's going to be under constant contention. There's so much utility uses on this map as well. It's quite in-depth. There's a lot you can do to bring to the table. There's actually quite a lot of spams as well, which is really interesting, and a few intricate boosts. I like Overpass because it's different. It's one of the customs that, was just thrown in there out of nowhere. Obviously, it's fairly standard now. It's been around for a long time, but it is still fresh. It's fresher than anything else we have in CS, and it's cool to see because there's still slightly new things, slightly new tweaks people are discovering every now and then, and I think it provides quite a lot just in terms of tactical CS. So as well, I'm just excited to see how this map goes down between these two teams because it's sort of a very sort of aim star sort of style CS that we'll see coming out from FaZe with that structure thrown into off the back of Karrigan, whereas a very sort of strategic based team that will play quite structured in the terms of Kinguin. So it should be an exciting matchup, obviously, going into this map.
Yeah, we are just waiting to go into the map, and do you think it is, like, Overpass has kind of been welcomed into the arms of the community? Originally it was kind of rejected, and people were like, we don't really like it, but now it has just become one of those maps. Do you think it is because of that slow, methodical play that it does offer, rather than the constant rushes that we might see on other maps?
Yeah, I think it's that, plus as well, it's just come to the point where it's stuck around, it's there, people had to adapt and learn how to play it, and it basically just became what we know, and it's just been accepted into it. I definitely think there's still a lot that could be changed to it to make it definitely improve as a better map, but I don't think it's up there with quite sort of the old standard, which is why I'm excited to see Inferno return to the map pool. But obviously it is definitely a good map that we will, hopefully should provide some very entertaining content going into today's matchup.
Hopefully. But does nerves come into play? I mean, Kinguin coming from the Premier Division, so they are now going to be facing off against the big dogs. FaZe they've done it all. They've been at majors, they've performed well, they top 8 last season. Are Kinguin going to be a little bit nervous here? We're going to see that in their play, do you think?
I don't think it's something that will affect them too much. Obviously, psychologically wise, it's not really going to be harping on them. They don't really have that much to lose going into it. They just have something to prove. They want to try and bring their A game, really strut their stuff, show what they can bring to the table, and they are talented players that have been through this in the past. They've played against the majority of players in this Pro League. They know what they're doing. As a team and stuff like that as well, they practice against each other. They know sort of how to counter this, and this needs to be where they can show off that they can do it in an official environment once again.
And I called a 1-1, and I think if Kinguin are actually able to take Overpass, then perhaps it could be a 2-0. When they did face off against VP, Kinguin, they actually beat them on Dust 2. So if we get to Dust 2, that's clearly a confident map. I said I think it's just going to be on who wins Overpass, because when your aim is just going, you can just walk into Dust 2 and you can just hit every single shot. But surely that has got to be a confidence builder. If they could just look back at a previous result on Dust 2 against VP, then they're going to be thinking, right boys, we just need to get through Overpass and move on to Dust 2. So perhaps that is counteracting completely what I said about nervousness. Now they just might get that confidence because of this map ball, as we are finally getting underway. Thank you for bearing with us during that downtime whilst we talked, very much so, about all sorts of A-long pushes. And now we'll get into it. And Team Kinguin are going to be on the T side, FaZe on the CT side. And just slow defaults at the moment. No one doing anything too crazy.
Yeah, slow, methodical play right now. What you'd expect to see, and I think too out of the ordinary. There will actually be a push coming out from Furlan. He was the one man on his own, just lurking. He's forced a massive rotate out already, but there will be that push coming in towards the B bomb site. Furlan, a second frag of the round. Michu will actually get the entry towards B as well as he strikes them towards Kiyoshima. They have B completely in their control. The welcome map was rolled out, and they've just walked their way in.
Yep, and now it is a 4 versus 1. It should be easy pickings, just Karrigan left. and he will get rattled off by Rallen. And now Kinguin take an early lead. It's exactly what they needed going into it. It's exactly what Heroic did against NIP to build some confidence. And now they just need to make sure they follow up with the next round. And it is going to be an anti-eco buy from FaZe. They're going to buy up, get a little bit of utility, get some Deagles. They can definitely do some damage with them. We've seen a lot of damage already done with Deagles today. But there is going to be 2 AKs in the hands of Kinguin. And those are your players that you can just fall back on. You can allow those players with the SMGs, with the Tech 9 to rush in, get some information, do a little bit of damage, and then you say, alright boys, you with the big guns, you can come in and mop this up.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that range advantage as well that you have. You need to try and at least have something you can use from a distance, especially on a map like Overpass. There is a lot of long angles that you'll have to fight from, especially here as they try and work their way up through long towards that A bomb site. Range is going to be such a key factor. They will just be biding their time for now, though. Alu is essentially trapped over by toilets. Seems like he will go for the peek off the back of the flashbang. Massive amount of tags going through as he tries to get that frag off on towards Furlan. Not really going to work out the way he wants it. Does eventually find the frag off on towards Sparrow, though, before it's traded out by Miku. And now they start to make their push towards A.
Yeah, Miku with the Safari Mesh. One of my favourite skins. Clearly sarcasm coming through as they are going to push down A long now. And smokes will come out, and it looks like it is going to be an A site take. Just going to smoke off as much as they can here so they can push in, but JKM manages to pick up a kill onto Mouse, and they actually have a 4v3 advantage. Kiyoshima finds one as well, and it's just 2 members left for Kinguin now. They're pushing on. They've made it a 2 versus 2, and there are FaZe members just lurking in the smoke. Bomb is going to go down. One of them just has 1 HP here.
Yeah, and he is going to be dropped instantly. Absolutely eliminated by Furlan there. Furlan has been on point so far into this matchup. A 2K very swiftly as he eliminates Karrigan, and that's going to leave him 4-0 straight away. Miku as well, 5 frags on the board right now. Kinguin looking good off the back of that pistol round win. Obviously FaZe as well. The economy still isn't in their favour, but this is a nice start for Kinguin. This is what they wanted to attempt to achieve.
I think what's important is that FaZe didn't go down to those SMGs, and they actually took the SMGs off of Kinguin, so now it is a slightly awkward buy for Kinguin. You can see Mouse and Spiro there haven't really got too much to work with. Yes, okay, another SMG in the hands of Spiro, but he probably would prefer a UMP, let's be honest. As now it looks like FaZe are just trying to boost up here, see if they can get any information. They're struggling to get on his head. Finally, he does, and it is a triple boost. This is something very interesting. Incredible position here from JK. I mean, he might be able to do something from this. Interestingly, they are going for this boost during the pistol round, and once they've done it once, perhaps Kinguin will expect it, so they can do something special with it, and this could be incredible for them, but unfortunately, Spiro just does turn around and stops Jacob getting anything advantageous from that position, and now they're going to push in onto this B site. Alu's going to go down as well, and this should be easy pickings. Just Kiyoshima left, and he falls once again. Kinguin, flawless round. It's what they needed. They didn't want to lose any of those guns, but now we will see the buy coming out for FaZe, and this is where they really need to make an impact.
Yeah. Go hard and fast into this round and really kick things off with a blast. You can see there that triple boost as you were hopping on JKM in that elevated angle. Did get a lot of information, fortunately couldn't quite pick up the frag, and you're right, that's sort of given the fact away that they might potentially whip that out later on as a game. They're going to be aware of that angle a lot more now, expecting it. Was it the right decision? You know, it depends. Hindsight's 50-50, so obviously it is a bit of an issue into that one. But moving into this first 4-buy round, Miku will actually take a fair bit of damage into the start of the round. Looks like a slower style of CS coming out from Kinguin though, as they group up just over towards Playground, just spread out, just holding their angles, hoping to see if FaZe might actually get aggressive into this early on.
Yeah, we saw an aggressive kind of jump up onto balloons by Rain, but as he sussed out no information, he heard no footsteps at all, didn't even get a sneeze out of Kinguin, so he backed off accordingly. He wasn't wanting to play ball, didn't want to get caught out and give anything away. So a little bit of aggression, but good that FaZe were able to take the aggression and then pull back once they didn't find anything. Don't want to give away their aggressive spots. It's always important to try and get the surprise, as now Spiro is pushing up short here. See if he can find anyone in toilets. He will be well aware there is a possibility of a member in there, but Rallen opens in kill onto Alu, and now Spiro will find Rain as well. So they've got the 5v3 advantage. This is what they need to push onto the A site. A lot of pressure on the man at Dumpster there, and he is going to push onto the site, but unfortunately Karrigan is shut down, and that just leaves Kiyoshima and JKM here to try and survive. They have got a little bit of utility to work with, but it's not an incredible amount, but Rallen is just going to rattle shots through, and this should be the round here for FaZe. For Kinguin, my apologies.
Yeah, I was just okay on left. Walking straight into the crosshairs of Miku, that is going to just obliterate him very swiftly there. And Kinguin snapping up that 4th round on the board, looking dominant so far on their T-half. This is exciting stuff to see. Sparrow as well, nice read of the economy, knows that they aren't going to be in a great state, and will actually buy up that Mac 10 so he can try and rack up a fair bit of cash.
Kinguin, plenty of money to work with. As you said, Spiro just keeping on that SMG, and it is going to be another eco round for FaZe. I wonder if they're going to go for something slightly different. Perhaps a stack, an aggressive push. But no, it's just going to be a default hold. They're going to hope they're going to be able to hold their angles tight. As actually now Karrigan is going to start to get a little bit experimentative with his pushing. He's going to back off slowly into short there. But Miku with his teammates now, and I like that they are still being slow despite facing off against an eco, Jackie.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not going overly crazy into this. They're still playing it smart. They're playing it cool and collective, which is what you need to do. This could be a massive backstab, though. As you can see, 2 CT players on short. They do boost their way over the smoke. Unfortunately, Furlan will spot them out, but he gets punished in the end. Anyway, Mouse will fire back. Is able to eliminate Karrigan. Here comes the onslaught. 3 CTs trying to battle their way back in towards the bomb site. JKM will take down Rallen. Miku fires off on towards Alu, though. Kiyoshima is there with his trusty Deagle in hand, trying to find the frag, but it won't work out. Miku swiftly annihilates him with that AK-47, and JKM forced to just tiptoe out of there and sprint off with that AK-47.
Yeah, speaking of swiftly, he swiftly got out there with the AK. Very important that he is going to survive with this weapon as they move on into the next round. He's going to just hover around, see if he can find any exit frags as well. He needs to be careful with this position. He can be sprayed down through these boxes. There are going to be members of Kinguin on the other side. He is not going to peek out, though. He doesn't want to give away the AK. Important that he carries it through. 5-0 to Kinguin. An incredible start from them. It is the underdog story. They did get promoted from the Premier ESL last season into Pro League. So their first season in Pro League facing up against some pretty powerhouses in the names of FaZe. And they're certainly coping well with the pressure right now.
Yeah, that's true indeed. But look at this, Alu now donning the AWP as he goes for this aggressive pick towards mid. He's going to be smoking over the smoke, seeing if he can find anything. Unfortunately, forced to fall back off the back of the flashbang, so he can't quite get that exciting opener that he wanted to try and gain for his side. Rain as well, just peering over the top here, raining hell from above as he gets that opening frag off on towards Ron. Fantastic stuff, just obliterated him through the smoke there.
Yep, exactly the start that FaZe needed, and now they found another one thanks to Kiyoshima spraying through the wall there. It is just 3 members of Kinguin left. Still definitely possible. They just need to work together, decide which site they're going to go for, try and split this FaZe lineup, really work together and coordinate a push here. Do still have plenty of utility to work with, so they can definitely flash their way into a site. Got smokes as well for after plants, even Molotovs to work with too. But there is a lot of utility on the side of FaZe as well. I mean, look at Rain. He's currently carrying everything. His backpack is definitely full, and he, unfortunately, his full backpack might weigh him down as Miku picks up the kill onto Long. Thankfully, Alu is there to get one of his own, but Mouse picking up one as well makes it a 2v3 situation. And I'd like to see the 2 Kinguin members try and group up as Mouse picks up another one, and that might be the movement needed to get fastly onto this B site here.
Yeah, as they sprint their way through, just bombarding their way into the bomb site now. It's completely open, and they've been able to claim it as their own. They can get that bomb planted and adjust themselves into some nice little after plants. The push will start to come in, though. Alu and Karrigan need to attempt to retake this. They only have 1 grenade, and that is going to be that Molotov. Bounced onto the site. Karrigan actually executes Miles now, and all of a sudden it's just Miku. The man himself, he's an excellent player. Attack down 20 HP though as he had to waddle through the Molotov. Alu comes in with a shot as well, takes him now with a crisp headshot, and the defuse will come in. FaZe finally get around on the board.
Really important they were able to put one on the board, as you say. Kinguin, they made a round of it though. It looked like it was a pretty dire one for them when they went down to just 3 members, but some important kills coming out of Mouse allowed them to have a sniff of winning the round, but unfortunately the tissues were dabbed by FaZe. And now they've got one on the board. They can start to get a little bit of momentum, perhaps get a little bit of confidence to try and get back in this game. But there is still plenty to work with on the side of Kinguin. They have a healthy bank balance, and the AWP is going to come out from Spiro here.
Now this is going to be exciting to see as well. He is absolutely deadly with the weapon. He's quite agile as well. Fantastic understanding of mechanics in the game. So you're going to see a lot of really quite exciting frags coming out from him. As you can see, the CTs as well, readjusting right now. They went for that early pick, went for the information play. Now they're just going to be backing off and holding their angles a little bit more tightly, running a bit of a tighter ship into this round.
Just slowly edging their way down long. And it does look like, at the moment, Kinguin have been favouring that B push. I don't know if they've perhaps found a weakness there in FaZe and they think that they can get onto that site easier. What kind of site would you prefer to push on Overpass, Jackie?
It's hard to say. I mean, obviously it depends on what sort of strategy you're going to go for and how your opponents are playing, but in a scenario like this, they've got an awful lot of map control towards that A bomb site. If they can get that initial frag, definitely you just want to commit and try and take that A bomb site off the back of this. Alu is there though. He's going for the jump face. Hasn't quite been able to sniff out any of those T-side players just yet, but Karrigan, he's going to strike swiftly and firmly as he takes down Furlan.
And sometimes when that early pick does come out, teams just suddenly decide they have to burst, they have to make the play there, they can't just wait on time when they've just got 4 members, but Kinguin having none of it. They are staying patient. Still need to be methodical, still need to decide what they're going to do. They can definitely still execute onto a site, as they do have the utility to do so. So they're not going to panic just yet, and now the Molotovs and smokes will come out as they do push on to this A site.
Trying to bombard their way through. Rain will get the first frag. Karrigan with one of his own as well. That's a 2k for the man so far into the round. Wants to go for the hat trick. Unfortunately falls short as Miku will fight back and take him down. But time is of the essence. He has to react fast. 6 seconds left on the clock. He's already got a 2k. Needs to get that bomb planted right now. He is going to force them to go for the peak. Gets one. Nearly gets the second. But time is up. And he gets picked off by JKM.
Unfortunately, time against them in the end. And FaZe get a second on the board. Still a bit of money to work with for Kinguin though. There's going to be 4 AKs here, just the 1 pistol. And that's obviously because Sparrow did have that AWP in hand, so his money not as good as some of his teammates. Oh, name was on the floor. Never mind what I said.
Yeah, they are going to be dropping him another AWP there, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can actually do with that. Obviously, Miku was the man kind enough to donate that to him into this one. Seems like it will be some aggression towards that B-bomb site early, hoping to catch someone off guard if they go a little bit aggressive, playing close towards Monster. None of the CTs will be pushing up just yet. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we do see 3 players just holding still, just waiting over by Park. Playground even, just hoping to see if any of the CTs will get aggressive. But it's nice, methodical play from FaZe. They're not getting overly aggressive into this.
Yeah, it seems like early in the round they will go for a peek and see if they can find anything, but as soon as they have that lack of information, they're more than happy to back off to a default. And it's worked in the past couple of rounds. They have been able to find that early pick. Alu's got a big responsibility here with the AWP down long. No one walking into his crosshairs just yet, though. He has got quite an aggressive stance, and now it's going to be down to Rain to see if he can find anything. But no, Miku is there to shut him down, and Alu goes as well. So now they should be able to push onto this A site, but there is one lone defender. Karrigan is tagged down to very low HP, though, and Rallen comes in to mop him up accordingly, and Kiyoshima has now made his way onto A site as a point of defense here.
This was beautifully played so far from Kinguin, just getting fantastic frag after fantastic frag, and Rallen as well is going to get a follow-up one off towards Kiyoshima. Just JKM, the substitute, but will he be a super sub in this scenario? Unfortunately not. He'll be a dead man off the back of Miku's bullet going straight between his eyes as he sits there behind Optimus Prime.
So FaZe, we said they weren't getting too aggressive, but they were relatively aggressive positions from them on their CT half there. I mean, we saw Rain take quite a forward stance in toilets, and he was greeted by 2 players of Kinguin, and then there was an aggressive angle from Alu as well, I've got to say, down long. He wasn't back on the site, he was just hiding behind flowers, and in the end it's not going to work out, as that was a round Kinguin really needed. If they had have lost it, their money would not have looked great, and instead it is FaZe. They've got banking problems at the moment. Just Karrigan with the Mag 7, a couple of Deagles to work with as well. But Kinguin still biding their time, despite the lack of money on the FaZe side here.
Yeah, just that Mag 7, the only real weapon on that side, and even then it's going to need to be utilised in close range combat. Karrigan, though, is allowed to sprint straight onto the site, gets a tag off. Unfortunately, couldn't quite convert that into the frag just yet. Rallen finds a headshot. Sparrow also is going to claim one with that AWP, and it just falls down to the trio. What can they achieve? Alu, Rain, and JKM spread quite thin. Also, Rallen sneaking up behind. Ooh, spots out Rain, but unfortunately he strikes him down with that mighty Deagle.
Yep, Rain will get an AK as a reward. And he'll probably just save that, but the rest of his team can definitely try and get some exit frags here. JKM does find one, looks for the second, does find that as well. He's just going to get confident and look for the third. He does get a shot out, but unfortunately it's not a lethal one. And the rest of Kinguin should be able to escape with their lives, but a lot of damage done by JKM. Good work from him there with the pistol. But ultimately, it is going to be a 7-2 lead now for FaZe. And we're going to move into the 10th round. And honestly, similarly to Heroic versus Nip, I don't know if I really saw this kind of scoreline in Kinguin versus FaZe, Jackie.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great way to kick things off, especially on that T side. Just dominant performance coming out right now from Kinguin. They've been looking just really, really strong. Great communication in terms of that. Great trading as well. When they lose one player, they're trading it back instantly. It's been looking drilled. Push towards that B-bomb site as well. Once again, FaZe's economy is horrific. They only have that one rifle between 5 players. Unfortunately, Karrigan couldn't achieve anything there as well. Didn't even really get a tag off. Just merely scraping a little bit of HP off Furlan before he hits the deck. And now it's left down to the 4 Musketeers that attempt to make their retake towards that B-bomb site. I mean, Rain didn't even really be going for this. He should most likely fall back. They've also invested in armor. It's going to be a hard-fought round. I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to maybe just back off and just save fully on this.
Yeah, I think JKM was even... he didn't really know what to do. There was some hesitancy in his play. He was just waiting. He was holding an angle, and then he was like, oh, maybe I should push. But he is eventually going to back off. They're just trying to find anything onto the site. They are not going to be able to retake this one. They definitely won't get the defuse. It's just a matter of trying to get a few kills, maybe find a weapon for themselves. But as you said, Jacob might even want to consider backing off and just saving this deagle here. The bomb is soon to explode. He's just checking to see if he can get any exit frags. He can't, as all of Kinguin once again will survive with their lives. Really important that they can keep this economy going, and they are slowly barreling out of control. FaZe need to do something to stop this Kinguin train from a rolling.
Yeah, FaZe need to try and shut this down sooner rather than later, essentially, at this point, because they're just looking dominant. And, you know, it's been Miku as sort of the main man. 14 frags on the board right now, leading in terms of kills for the side of Kinguin. He's been absolutely on point. Once again, aggression coming out now towards Underpass. We have seen Rain best him in the past here. He has been fairly effective in this scenario, but unfortunately this time around we'll just measly tag off before he's forced to reposition. Kiyoshima and Alu, though, they come in massive into the round. Rain goes back in for more, but can't quite pick it off. Furlan is trying to ward off Alu. This could be quite a messy round.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's well aware of Furlan being there, as Mouse is going to push onto site. It was a little bit of a battle. He's going to have to back off because he's tagged down. He's going to pick up the bomb here. He sees that it is there near Monster. And now Furlan's still here in Connector, seeing if he can find anything, just spraying down through the wall, praying to the gods that he hits something. He is going to walk into the AWP, but thankfully he doesn't walk into the bullet, just walks into a little bit of wind coming out of the gun, as Karrigan picks up one onto Miku as well, just leaving 2 members remaining from Kinguin, so this is a lot better from FaZe, and a lot on the shoulders of these 2 players if they want to make something happen. They may as well go for it. They do have plenty of money to work with. Their economy is looking pretty good, but that is going to be dire straits now, as Mouse is the only player remaining. Can he do any damage to the FaZe economy is the real question. Does have the bomb behind him, so he does pick up a couple of kills. Perhaps going to get it, but he's not going to get it. JKM will finish off the round, and FaZe finally get another one on the board. Really important that they are able to get back into this one, Jack.
Yeah. This is the thing, it's quite vital that they're actually able to lock that down and start to find themselves a little bit of footing. And you can see as well, Kinguin are actually going to decide to just go for those 4 AK buys. They're not going to get that AWP out this time around on Spare. I wonder if this will affect their playstyle, if we'll see more of an aggressive style of CS this time around, if they're just going to try and utilise those weapons by just barraging their way in. Heavy aggression towards long early on, it seems, as they send 4 players over by party. 1 man will just be lurking, holding that push from towards the B-bomb site. Alu is in a great angle to find that frag. Unfortunately, can't quite land the frick and will get taken down by Rallen. Sparrow as well finding the frag there. Rain will fire back, is able to eliminate Sparrow into a 3 versus 4 very early on into the round. Rallen is on his last legs though, just 6 HP on the man.
Yeah, Miku slowly pushing down long. He's going to get smoked off, but there is a little bit of a gap that he can just sneak through and push onto the site and find Kiyoshima. He's thinking, how on earth did he push through that? Without me noticing, well, there was a little bit of a gap that he was more than happy to push through. So, needs a better smoke next time. But Kinguin, 4 versus 2 advantage. And Rain is just rotating slowly back up to this site as well, but Miku is waiting there, holding the angle, but Jacob, fantastic work from him, being able to take that 1v1. That's exactly what they need to get back into this, and perhaps he's going to surprise another. Not quite though. Furlan turns around and gets the kill, and that is just left on Rain, who may even consider retreating once again, but it looks like he is going to have an attempt at this, and there are a couple of weak members of Kinguin.
That's very true indeed, but it's going to be a hard-fought fight. If Rain does decide to go for this, time is of the essence. He has no kit and will just decide to back off. The smart call in this scenario, doesn't really want to run the risk of losing his arsenal and also not going through into the following round with a weapon. Horrific spot to be in though for FaZe. Obviously their cash will now be reset once again off the back of that prior round win, going into this, losing it. Not really too fantastic.
Still a little bit to work with. It looks like they are going to buy up here. It's not going to be a phenomenal buy, but with drops coming in here, there, and everywhere, they are going to get just about everything they need. But as you said, money is looking sparse. If they lose this one, then they are down and out, and they are looking at an eco and giving away some more rounds to Kinguin here. Another aggressive approach from Rain here at Party. There are a couple of players in Playground that he might find as he is going to actually continue his pressure here to see if he can find anything. He might get caught off guard here, which he will. Sparrow with the AWP does find Rain, and we said that FaZe hadn't really tried much aggression, but when they do, it's not really working out for them.
Yeah, that is very true indeed. Into this as well. This aggression coming out on towards long. Alu wants to try and find that frag as he swings wide. Oh, seems like he might have realised that he didn't want to quite commit to that. We'll just be backing off, trying to hold this angle from the site now. And Kinguin, they've been looking efficient so far throughout this match. Still 5 members left standing. Sparrow, he's already got that opening frag. Can he find anything else? Can he crack open the egg of FaZe a little bit more?
This is what I love about Kinguin as well, that they just do have such patience. Even though they got that early pick, they're still slow, thinking about what they want to do. I mean, with a team that got promoted into the Pro League, you might have thought they might make some rash decisions, but they certainly deserve their place here in the Pro League, as they are really taking FaZe to the wire here and making them answer. Well, they're asking a lot of questions of FaZe, to be honest, and there are little answers, should I say, from this FaZe lineup at the moment. But perhaps FaZe have a lot to offer on a T side of their own. They do still have time to get back into this half, but Kinguin need to do something soon. The clock is slowly ticking down, and they need to make their way onto a site, so it looks like it is going to be a fast entry onto B, but they walk into Karrigan, and Kiyoshima picks up 2 at the same time as well, but that is on the wrong site, so the plant is going to go down here.
Yeah. Just in the nick of time, the bomb will get planted. Furlan able to reposition as well, has his teammate, his brother-in-arms in Sparrow. Unfortunately, went back to try and throw the Molotov and gets taken down. Sparrow now, it's all on him. He has to go huge, gets the 2K, hungry for the third. Can he find that triple kill? Needs to try and pick up the round. This would be a ridiculous quad kill. Is he able to pick it up? Kiyoshima picks it to his crosshairs. He strikes, absolutely obliterates him. Kinguin on a roll.
Unbelievable stuff from Team Kinguin. They do not look out of place against FaZe whatsoever. And yes, they left it late, but they went with the double split push. Kiyoshima did get a double of his own, but unfortunately it was on the wrong site, and they had to try and push onto this site. Just look at this from Sparrow with the 4K, with the AWP, holding his nerve against a team full of, well, heroes really. FaZe have got some absolutely incredible players on their lineup, but at the moment, Kinguin definitely don't look like they are phased.
Well, this is the thing, is that nice, by the way. Good, that was nice.
Cheers, bud.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Dan.
Great.
But that was really fantastic as well from Sparrow. That's what we want to see. You know, I touched on the fact he is a very proficient AWPer, and he's agile. You can see that. He trusts in himself. He knows when to go for those picks, and he's been doing so dominant for that side. Kinguin, looking on point. You know, maybe my hopes and dreams for them are coming true here.
It would be absolutely great if Kinguin were able to upset FaZe, just as we saw Heroic do to NIP. They have got an opening set of kills now, just 3 players remaining for FaZe, and this isn't looking like a great round for them, but still, Kinguin just taking their time. They're not pushing, they're not going to give away anything. Well, I say not giving away anything. Rain jams some shots through the wall and hits Rallen with his deagle. So, doesn't quite even things out, but does weaken the Kinguin push ever so slightly. Miku's going to have to back off as well. The smoke will slow him down just a little bit. So, despite this dominance and despite having the man advantage, Kinguin still having to slow down, still having to wait because of the utility, and Karrigan might be able to find a kill here. No, he won't. Furlan answers, and now this is their chance. They can push onto this B site. They've got smokes to stop any sort of nuisance happening. Bomb's going to go down, and just Rain left.
Rain, all on his lonesome. Will he be sliding his way into that bomb site and actually achieve anything? Or will they be telling him to go home and come away another day?
Yep, nice. Unfortunately, it will be another day for him, and it's going to be 11-3 advantage for Kinguin. Last round of the half now, big one for FaZe. Just getting 4 on the board could be, well, it could prove to be vital come towards the end of the game. A 12-3 deficit is definitely not something you want to work with going on to T side of Overpass, so Kinguin going to be feeling full of good spirits right now. Just another one on the board would add to those good spirits, and, well, they're going to be facing against FaZe, who have little to work with. Hoping that Kiyoshima can do big things with the Mag 7, get up close and personal, perhaps get some important deagle kills, but it's not going to be easy for FaZe. Things definitely not looking great for them.
Yeah, this is really a sticky situation to be in. They're getting just completely pounded on round after round. Kinguin are looking ferocious. Miku as well tiptoes his way up to what could be another nice frag for him as he peeks around the angle. Should have been stricken down, but actually was able to overpower Kiyoshima. Luckily, his teammate is there to get the trade off on towards Alu as well. That did pick him back off. 3 versus 4 swiftly into this round. And they're all trapped on towards that A bump site. B is completely open.
Always a frustrating experience when you do have the Mag 7 and you shoot someone close range and you think they should die, but unfortunately they managed to survive and put a headshot into you. And frustrating being the key word for FaZe, I feel, this half. Really struggling against the Kinguin side that have been relentless with their terrorist attacks. They've been pushing both A and B successfully. They've been patient, they've been methodical, as Rain does get a deagle shot, finds one, finds a second, so there is still hope in this round. Can he find a weapon as well to work with? And perhaps they can put a 4th on the board here.
Yeah, that would be exciting to see. Hopefully they can do so. They really need to at least post some kind of result to help them, as if they don't win the pistol round, they're surely going to be out of the game. Mao's trying to take on Jikaeum in Mortal Kombat there. Eventually will get shut down, and it just falls on towards Furlan. Rain, if he bides his timing right here, could be so critical into this round as he comes from short. Will just be waiting behind the smoke. Doesn't want to commit just yet. Doesn't want to throw his chance away. It all rides on him to pick this round up. Furlan has utility, 2 flashbangs to play with. There is no kit in the inventory of Rain. It's not even going to matter. He won't even get a chance to strike. Furlan pops his head up and takes him down so swiftly.
Incredible first half from Kinguin, but that will be half time. So we're going to take a short break and we'll see you soon. Seems like it is the underdog story here today in the ESL CSGO Pro League. Kinguin currently 12-3 up against FaZe on Overpass. A lot to do in the second half for FaZe, but quite frankly, I don't even think they're going to be capable of doing so. I mean, that is a lot to do. I mean, I'm not just saying a lot, really a lot. If you think about it, to take 12 rounds of their own, especially when you've got a pistol to contest with as well, I can't look past Kinguin anymore.
Yeah, and Kinguin looked dominant in their pistol round originally as well. You know, they really came in strong. We saw some fantastic shots from Furlan especially. He was really bringing his A game, strutting his stuff all over the place, and I'm scared for FaZe. I feel like, you know, maybe they've come into it thinking they were slightly more dominant than they were, and they've been shut down because of it. You know, even with their playstyle, it didn't seem especially too grandiose. It really just seemed like this has been the Kinguin show.
I mean, I was going to ask you, and I want to ask you, where the kind of weaknesses lie for FaZe in their CT setup, but honestly, Kinguin have been able to push here, there, and everywhere, and there's been no real defense from FaZe, but what's got to change for FaZe? Is it just the standard case that they've got to be hitting their shots, or have they just got to work a little bit better as a team in this second half?
It's odd. Everything just looks kind of off right now for them, especially, you know, from individual skill and just sort of plays. It seems like they're just getting shut down very easily, whereas also Kinguin just seem to be thriving. They're allowed to get these entries very easily. Sparrow especially has been coming out with some massive openers, but even closers as well. He's been able to get some huge clutches that have shut things down, and it's just been ridiculous to see. But all of this sort of harps back onto Miku being allowed to essentially waddle into every site he wants to and claim 1 or 2 frags here and there.
I've got to credit Kinguin as well. They have been very patient about their play. They haven't been overwhelmed by the situation of facing up against FaZe in their first game of the Pro League after being promoted. So credit to them for just, they don't look out of place whatsoever. And I mean, who's standing out for you on this Kinguin side? Because I'm looking at these names and I could say any of them is performing absolutely fantastically.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, everyone has been popping off. Furlan, we've seen him come into the fold with quite a few critical plays here and there, but I got to give it to Miku. Top fragging on the team right now for his side. He's been looking strong, and honestly, I mean, we just need to try and see more of that. If he can keep up that kind of play stance to the second half, really just FaZe need a miracle.
Yep, really important pistol round here. Kinguin do take it. That could be game over. They are going to come through connector, but thankfully Sparrow is there. He finds 2. Furlan comes along to join the party as well. And suddenly FaZe now are just left to 1 man. And this is already looking like a possible game over with a lot resting on Karrigan's shoulders here. He needs to do a lot. He can't even get the bomb either. That's the problem. He's just going to be surrounded now. Kinguin are going to swarm around him. Mouse pushes in to finish it off. 13-3. They've got the pistol. All they need to do now is win these anti-ecos, and they are looking extremely comfortable.
Yeah, that is a huge round. This is what we need to see coming out from them, and I'm not surprised. I knew how powerful they were with those pistols. They looked dominant. They came in hard and fast. They swiftly obliterated their opposition. They played to their strengths once again, and were just able to annihilate everything FaZe brought to the table. And, you know, you got those first 4 frags in, what, a matter of seconds, and then just left Karrigan to wander around like a lost child in Asda.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision from FaZe just to push through connector so fast like that, and a good call from Kinguin to greet them. There was 3 members there and ready in connector, so perhaps they have done their research on FaZe and they knew that is a possible pistol strategy that was going to come through to them. And now a lot to do for FaZe. If there wasn't a lot to do before the pistol round, things have gone from bad to worse as Rain is trying to do something with his deagle. If he can get a pick here and find a weapon, there is still a chance, but it's going to be very difficult for FaZe. They need to work together. They need to come up with a game plan, but it's always difficult to come up with a game plan when you are in this situation, when you are so far behind. JKM will find one, though, so it is back to a 4v4 as Karrigan picks up one as well, and they're going to start pushing onto this A site.
Yeah, nice use of those deagles here. Some fantastic frags coming out. They're very proficient with these hand cannons as they just tear apart the opposing team. Kinguin now just left to the dynamic duo of Mouse and Miku. Can they find their way back into the site, though? Utility is limited. Just one flash between both players. A wallbang will come out off on towards Ali, though, as he rips him to shreds. Still wants to continue on this fight, trying to get the spray down off, but Kiyoshima will overpower him. It just falls to Mouse, and he's going to live up to his name as he timidly taps away to go and find somewhere to hide.
Having absolutely none of it. He is being chased, though. Needs to be very aware. We'll get the pick onto JKM, and now there are a lot of rounds to work with for Kinguin, so I'm not exactly surprised that he is backing off. He knew that was a pretty much unwinnable round there, but great stuff from FaZe. It's what they need to do to get back into it. I don't think we're going to quite start the montage music just yet, but it's definitely getting ready to put in the CD player. We can get it out of his case, perhaps.
Dan, I guess you could say it was a game of cat and mouse.
You could do. I like that.
See,
that was nice.
that's what I'm paid for.
You're getting paid for this?
Oh, really? I don't know.
As Kinguin are 13-4 up, FaZe putting one on the board after losing the pistol. That was really important for them to get back into it. And now they have got a little bit of money to work with. They've got 3 AKs and an M4 that Ali managed to bring from the previous round. And Sparrow are going to take an aggressive approach onto Party, not finding anything with his scout just yet, though, and he's going to back off accordingly. And FaZe now will slowly approach through the smoke. They'll be well aware there was someone on Party. Rain just jumping, seeing if he can get any sort of information, but nothing to be had. Kinguin turtling back. They don't want to give anything away just yet here.
No, not yet, indeed. They're still trying to buy dead time. FaZe, they really can't allow this 1 round advantage to slip away from them. If they get reset now, this would just be absolutely horrific. They have to pick this up, and they're going to be trying everything they can, just playing with patience, playing strategically, playing very clinically, just playing it slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race. It's exactly what Kinguin did when they were on the terrorist side. They waited, they were patient, and it really did pay off. But FaZe have always got that pressure. That 13-round difference, or, well, scoreline for Kinguin, just breathing down their neck. Something they're always going to be worried about, just giving away 2. As bullets will now rain down onto Rallen, and they get the opening pick, and now they can push on, possibly. But Sparrow does have a chance with this scout. If he can just find 1 headshot, it could definitely make the difference. But he is being attacked from all angles. He's just going to try and shoot here, there, and everywhere. But unfortunately for him, JKM comes in, takes him down. Mouse has a look. Oh, yeah, I was going to say he had a great opportunity with the M4, but he's also put to bed. And now this should be a relatively easy round for FaZe to finish. Well, I say that. Kinguin do find themselves with 1 lone defender, and he's going to find an AK and retreat. We'll be able to save another weapon into the next round, which is important, but look how low some of those FaZe members are. Kinguin did bring it close, but unfortunately there was no cigar. And now moving into the next round, FaZe just still... Honestly, I think they've got to play flawlessly. If they even let up for a second, if they even allow Kinguin to breathe ever so slightly, then I think that might be game over, Jackie.
Yeah, right now Kinguin are like an elastic band. As soon as you give them, you know, a slight snap, a slight mile of room to breathe, they're going to snap back into it. They're going to get back into the game and shut you down. And FaZe need to keep it constantly pulled. They have to keep firing their way through. They're in a great spot right now, though. It was important they won that round. They did so in a great fashion. They have these AKs to work with. Kinguin as well, not in a fantastic spot at all. They have one saved weapon. They can play around it, and Furlan, you know, definitely someone that I'd say does have potential to cause a bit of an upset into this round. He can bring some stuff to the table. It's going to be a hard-fought round, though. Hopefully, at the very least, they do some damage to the side of FaZe and get themselves in a good spot. FaZe, smart read, though, as well. Alu is going to go for that Mac 10 so we can build up some cash. And honestly, FaZe should be able to snap this one up very swiftly. They need to do so, though.
It should be. Mouse tries to take an aggressive approach onto short here at B, but he's having to back off, and the FaZe players are just going to push in. Now they are relentless. They find two, but two responses come in from Kinguin as well. So it is a 3v3, but Alu's going to come in with a Mac 10, as you said, getting a little bit of money in his bank, and it's just Furlan left, the lone defender with the AK. This is doable, but unfortunately Karrigan shuts down his hopes and dreams. I think it's very important Kinguin don't panic in this situation. Yes, okay, they've got a lot of rounds to work with. Just keep calm. Keep doing what you're doing. Go back to what was happening in the first half, and they should still be able to pull this one out. FaZe, however, will start to be getting a little bit of that momentum now. Start to be taking that disc out of its case and edging it closer to the CD player. What disc am I talking about?
The Celine Dion CD.
I mean, yeah, okay. That could be some montage music. I'm down for that.
Slip that in. I'd listen to that. I'd watch that.
That says a lot about your musical taste, Jackie. As now Kinguin just need to hold on. If they can get a 14th round, that may be game over. JKM just ever so slowly edging through. He is going to walk into a cross here, though. Needs to check both of his angles. The peak is going to come out, but thankfully Kirishima was there to back him up. But Sparrow pops out and gets one of his own. And now it's 4v3 in the advantage for Kinguin. And Sparrow just deciding to switch up on his weapons a little bit. And FaZe need to change their game plan ever so slightly, decide where they're going to push with this one. We saw Kinguin win a couple of rounds with just 3 players against 5, so it's definitely doable, and that will be in the minds of FaZe. And it looks like they are going to be considering a B push rather than an A1.
Yeah, they are close to that site. They're going to be September through. Miku, I believe, actually has information here as well. Does want to go for that peek. Oh, Karrigan's going to set him up with a date with a coroner, though, as he instantly rips his head clean off. Fantastic stuff. And now they begin to execute their way on. Molotov will go down. Sparrow trying to fight back. Can't ward them off for long enough, though, as he gets absolutely obliterated. Mouse will fire back with one of his own. Nice headshot coming out off on towards Rain. Furlan is in close proximity as well. Can this dynamic duo cause enough of a stir to actually take them out? Mouse still kicking out this high-tempo action. It's a 1 versus 1 now. Still has to find the frag off on towards Karrigan, though. He has that AK-47. He's primed. He's locked and loaded. Has spot out the position of Mouse. Goes in for the push. Rips him to shreds. And can actually get the defuse. Huge play from Kinguin.
Absolutely massive from Kinguin, and that might just be what they need to finally take this game, to finally stop the comeback of FaZe from even having the possibility of happening. And, wow, just a great situation to be in. Yes, okay, it was a 3 versus 4 in favour of Kinguin, but the fact that FaZe were able to bring that to a 2 versus 2, I thought there was every chance of them winning that one. But thankfully, Kinguin had very effective trades, and money now for FaZe is just about going to get them the rifles. 1 UMP for Karrigan, but the AWP is going to come out for Sparrow on the side of Kinguin, so a lot of work for him to do. We know he's more than capable of using the AWP. It's where he's going to go with it, and if he can do some real damage to FaZe's hopes of getting back into this map.
Yeah, as they try and tiptoe their way up now. Aggression coming out. They need to slip up. They need to bring something to the table here. They can't make any more mistakes. Furlan playing close proximity, just playing around the smoke. This is smart stuff. If he executes this perfectly, this could be so critical if he's able to find these frags. As players are in close proximity to him, he just waits, lying in wait there over by toilets. Aggression is coming out towards that A-bomb site. They begin to tiptoe their way down now as well. Off towards B. It will be that pincer play off on towards B.
Squeaky doors open. Maybe some information had. There's Miles once again just going to be holding Monster here. He's done some great work holding these FaZe members off, pushing B. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He's going to try and do it once again. Finds the first one to Aloe. Looks for the second. Gets the spray down onto Kiyoshima. He's now going to look to short. Can he find a third? Yes, he can. Finds the fourth for the spray down. He's going to look to Monster to find the ace. Backs off, though, because he is weak. Finds another weapon with some ammo in, but he can just communicate with his teammates. Looks for the ace. Can he find it? Yes, he can. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from Mouse. I said he's been doing that all game, holding Monster. And now he puts Kinguin in great position to win this game. FaZe now have little money. All they can do is buy Deagles. And are we going to see yet another upset here, Jackie?
Yeah, absolutely lunatic level plays coming out. As you can see, just ridiculous. Look at the spray on his wrist. He's following 2 frags off on towards short that are just absolutely mental. As he peeks into that flurry of bullets, takes him down with a hailstorm there. That's just mental. And right now, you know, FaZe, looking like the rounds they were winning were just a phase.
Absolutely incredible stuff. And now Kinguin just need to put this one to bed. Just need to hold their positions. They just need to wait. They don't need to do anything silly. Don't need to get excited, especially after that ace from Mouse. I want to see him just holding his position once again. And Mouse actually just having the FAMAS in this round as Alu's getting aggressive, but Ranlon and Sparrow will open up the kills here. Alu can't even find the kill as Sparrow turns around with the pistol and then gets another AWP shot to put him to bed. And Rain is the last lone survivor, the last chance of FaZe possibly getting back into this game. It's a very slim hope, but he does start the hopes off well with a nice Deagle shot onto Mouse, but it's short-lived as Sparrow will finish the game, and that is an incredible win for Kinguin. I don't think people were expecting Kinguin to perform that well as the new boys in town in the Pro League. I mean, what have you got to say about that, Jackie?
I'm shocked, honestly. Flabbergasted, to say the least. This is what I wanted to see. I'm very, very ecstatic they've actually been able to pull that one out of the bag and pick it up. You know, obviously I did predict FaZe to win this, assuming that they come into there being a more structured team. But Kinguin, you know, obviously they've been playing together for a very long time. They've been to multiple majors. These aren't players that are new to the block. They're not messing around, and they're showing up. They're coming into this, their first matchup in Season 5 of Pro League, and they absolutely dominated it. Fantastic play across the board. Everyone shining. I don't think there was a player on that team that I could say was replaceable after that game. It just looked phenomenal.
It did. They played out of their mind, played out of their skin. A lot of clutches happened from members of both Kinguin, and there was a couple of highlights from FaZe as well, where they were able to get back into the game, but I thought we were going to be starting the montage music. Unfortunately not, thanks to especially an ace from Mouse that really changed the game. Kinguin going to be feeling very happy about that one, and they will move into the second map now, knowing that they can't lose the series. They could draw it. They're definitely not going to start their season with a loss, and that's going to be a great way to start once again. And these are the kind of teams they need to be beating coming into Pro League. I mean, FaZe, like that kind of mid to top tier team, this is the chance that Kinguin has to put themselves in FaZe's position and maybe find themselves at finals at the end. But I mean, what did Kinguin do so well? They just seemed not only incredible on their T side, but their CT holds were pretty good too.
Structure was just phenomenal from them. They played very well together. They knew how to play off positions. They knew how to trade for each other, and it just seemed like teamwork was very nicely drilled. Everyone knew how to play from one another. You know, they were using utility to complement each other in terms of peaks. We weren't seeing very many dry peaks coming out. It was always times where they'd help each other in terms of aiding them with flashbangs. They'd make sure communication was on point. They weren't doing anything overly zealous as well. Nothing too crazy. It was always very structured. They knew what they were doing, and essentially they just played to their strengths. They knew what they were good at, and they knew how to use that to essentially just beat FaZe at their own game.
And I was saying that I think whoever wins the first map is probably going to take the second, because we're going into Dust 2 where it's all about aim, and Kinguin are looking really hot, and I'm struggling to look past a 2-0 for them. What has got to change for FaZe if they're going to be able to take a draw in this series?
For a start, they need to come out of this with their heads held high. They can't go back into this following game still down the dumps off the back of a loss like that, because that was dominant. You know, they didn't really have too many rounds to shine. Maybe that's really affected them negatively, because there was so many clutch rounds as well, where Kinguin, essentially you could say they shouldn't have won them. Sparrow just went off massive in a few of those, and it's the fact they need to come into it, forget that, take it as a best of one, reset, go into Dust 2 with their heads held high, and really try and bring their A game, or else if we repeat history once again and Kinguin are able to 2-0 this, that would just be an absolutely mental start. Would be a mental start indeed. Map 2 is going to be Dust 2, and I'm a little bit worried for FaZe, but we'll see how they do manage to get on in the next game. We're going to take a short break before we get into game number 2, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.